BenFlyingRetro, and I'm embarking on a quest to purchase every classic GI Joe comic from the original 80s and 90s Marvel run. Warning. Hunting down individual issues from every corner of the globe in whatever order the universe decides to give me. Join me and my pal Steve every week as we discuss my latest find. Welcome to Chasing Joe. Chasing Joe. Whoa! Hello! My name is BenFlyingRetro and welcome to Chasing Joe episode 34. My relentless pursuit of Marvel GI Joe books is apparently unshakable and unwavering. Stay on target. Week by week, you guys, the audience, are with me on the comic book odyssey across the stormy ocean that is life, the ultimate side quest to all of our main storylines. Sit back and relax, because for the next hour, we got you, baby. You might be watching on YouTube, or you might find yourself listening to the podcast. However you consume this tasty GI Joe morsel, know that you are with friends. This show is about hanging out, man. Let's introduce Mr. Joe Berg himself, the dice to my slice. It's Housekeeping.
It's me, yes, Jobs.
Oh, wow! It's Luigi.
Maybe it's a Tom Selleck thing. I don't know.
It's big. It's bushy. It commands respect.
It's a cookie duster where I'm from. Let's just say I grew it for work. And for anyone in the dark who's listening to the podcast, as opposed to taking in these insane visuals, I have shaved off my beard and I'm left with a big old 80s moustache.
It's so bushy.
It's pretty full.
That's really full-bodied. Are you going to groom that? Are you going to put some product in that? What happens?
I don't know, like the rest of me, unkempt for the most parts. But yeah, I suppose I could get some oil in there. Or not give a shit. I mean, it's way too hipster to do the...
so hipster. You're going to have flat whites coming out your taps.
I'm going to have flat whites in my tash. Extra foamy, baby.
Normally, when something like this happens, you're like, I've got a big film role as General Flag. Is that
Flag? More like Keelhaul. He had a good tash. In fact, oh man, a lot of those late 80s guys had monster tashes.
You'd be a really good extra in like Empire Strikes Back as one of the Hoth Rebel troopers. Anything really. They are of that time, man.
There's no getting away from it, man. All these 80s properties, moustaches were big. Now moustaches are big, but in a different way. It's a kind of an association that you don't necessarily want to have. Or you're an Australian. No one bats an eyelid when I walk down the street rocking this thing in this part of the world.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
Work on my rat's tail as well.
I mean, there's certain parts of London where if you don't have a tash, it's a problem, I think. You know? S-Jubs.
Soho, baby.
Hang on. No? This is more of a visual thing, but housekeeping.
Right.
This is just, I just got some housekeeping to do on this pod, and that's why I have a giant feather duster. It's an extender for those hard-to-reach zones. Woo! Right, housekeeping.
Channeling the infomercial.
I have been on a thumbnail odyssey. We are just changing how we present this show to you guys. So everyone likes the mystery aspect of not knowing what issue that I'm going to be doing, but I kind of thought something you said on the flagship, you were like, YouTube has a long memory. And I was like, it does. And if someone picks up this show in like 3 years, it's just going to say Chasing Joe 1, 2, 3. It's just like, ugh. So
and
we are
someone
going.
Might pick up the show in 23 years.
Yes. Yes.
We're woven into the tapestry of like internet history now.
So I have gone back into the early episodes, and we have changed the title to include the issue that we are talking about. So when this is all said and done, people could go back and actually do it in the order of the book, issue 1, hopping around. But obviously, we don't want to spoil it for the people that are on board this locomotive, Astro train. So we will just keep the most recent 2 episodes will always be a mystery. And then as we go, we will tell you what those issues are. That's the end of the housekeeping. And if you like pretty GI Joe artwork, go back and have a look at some of the thumbs because they're mighty fine.
Yep. Everything you need to know is in those thumbs, man. Like if you are looking for a specific issue, the issue number will be appended.
They're so fun to make. I'm going to put them on the Instas because they're just joyous.
I'm curious, how long does it take you to do a new thumbnail?
It's about
a nice
5
collage. Well, you find the key art panels and you kind of sandwich them in there.
Yeah, this is exactly what I do. And then if I'm feeling really fruity, I kind of might cut some bits out so we can have some layers going on. But that brings me on to my next point before we get into this week's issue, digital copies. I am very fortunate that Chief sent me all of the digital copies from the latest compendium that he bought. Look, we all know that
you really want to be saying that on a public platform.
Look, I love the floppies, yeah, but when I'm making these thumbs, it is such an amazing resource just to have all these issues in the most insane resolution.
Especially when your buddy paid for it.
Yeah.
Look, that's, I think...
I mean, the resolution is wild. It's wild. You Google image some of, G.I. Joe comics, you can get some high-res stuff. These are insane. You can zoom in for days. Now, you're not going to know the answer to this, but I want to know exactly what those digital copies are. They're obviously not scans of the actual book. Are they, they keep on file the original pages? Like, they're so razor sharp. Can you put some light onto this for me?
I shouldn't have to, Ben. Surely you're more au fait with the digital process that you can take original work and remaster it.
What? But remaster it by hand or just AI?
Now you're asking, as you said up top, like questions that I cannot answer. But if I was to guess, they are taking original scans and touching them up.
Yeah, but not scans from a comic book page.
Really?
Well, they can't be because there's no dots.
Someone else did the hard yards before them.
There's no dots.
Marvel did the first 5. IDW did the first 5 volumes and then continued the run. And now Skybound, I don't know, do you think Skybound has gone back to basics? Start from scratch? And there will be people in the comments section who will be able to give us the answer. So if you, like us, dear listener, are scratching your head, someone out there will give you the answer.
You're not looking at these digital issues. They're not paper. There's no scanning or anything. I don't really understand it. But anyway, there you go. They are joyous. And look, if you're on a long ass train and you haven't got a rucksack full of floppies, it's a very quick and easy way to get some Joe into your life. I'm just saying they have.
Would you have a nice big iPad to kind of thumb through?
Yes, because I'm rereading a Daredevil run at the moment that I'm never going to be able to get like 100 of these issues. So I'm just reading it on Marvel Unlimited, and it is absolutely amazing. It's brilliant. So good. Yeah, I don't do that panel by panel thing though. I still sort of read it like it's a big giant digital comic.
Good.
But from a creative point of view, having access to the high res Joe is quite rare and like very exciting, hence why I just have so much fun designing those thumbs. It's like very unusual to take a tiny panel from a comic book and just look at it on a huge iMac without any loss. Yeah. It's woo. Anyway, that's the housekeeping. Get rid of that.
And then some. Jeepers.
We have got a donation. It's Jim. It's Jim Godfrey. He is a god.
Mm-hmm.
He pops up all over the scene in these GI Joe pods out there. Jim is donating. He's contributing.
Making customs.
Is he pulling the truck for the whole goddamn scene? He might be. He really might be. So he has sent me an issue. So kind. Because look, my figure is getting up there. It's getting a little bit scary. Someone, because I look.
How do you
every
eat
Sunday,
an elephant, Ben? Little
how do you
each
eat
time.
an elephant? Is that a school joke? What is that?
I don't know. It's just basically an allegory to like how do you tackle anything monstrous? You just take it one bite at a time, and like maybe the finances are going to be interesting from an academic point of view, but not from an emotional point of view. You don't want to know your spend at the end of the day. You might have gone way over your initial estimations, but like spending £3 a week on average.
Beautiful. I like the academic thing there. Scholars will look at this.
You're like, this is how
YouTube
not to collect a comic book series.
I think someone in the last issue was a little bit confused about how I was doing it. And they were like, hang on, you could just get the compendiums. That ain't the point of the show, son.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, no, what was I going to say there? You jogged my memory about something, but never mind. Here we go. What's he sent me?
A yellow?
He has sent me issue 56, November the 11th, 1986. I tell you one thing about Jim. He ain't sending his discards. He's not sending me Easter eggs made up of the chocolate on the factory floor. These are minty.
Mmm. That is a lovely copy.
It's wobbling. Cultural landscape. Let's all hop in. I've got room for everyone in the DeLorean. What was happening? November 11th, 1986. Movies. Check this out. Your neck of the woods. It was number 1 this weekend. It's Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, jeez.
It was a breakout, a massive breakout hit, S-Jubs. And another film that was at number 2 was The Color of Money, a fantastic, underappreciated Martin Scorsese film starring Tom Cruise and Paul Newman, and all they do is just drive around to pool halls. Oh my God, it's so good. And I'm actually getting into pool right now. I've been playing a lot with Phoenix. We go down to this bowling alley. It's like £1.50 for a game of pool. Big tables. It's a great game. And that is a good film. Have you seen it?
I have not. The Color of Money, but I want to know about
Remedy it.
Geez,
it's actually so. It's technically a sequel to a '60s film called The Hustler, starring Paul Newman. Black and white.
Surprisingly the same character.
Yeah, as an older man, and Tom Cruise is so good in this film. He learned to play pool like a freaking demon.
I'll bet.
He's working in a toy shop. It's a bit like Toys R Us, and the deal with working in this toy shop is you have to wear a T-shirt with your name in massive bold font, and his name in the film is called Vincent, and Paul Newman's character is, don't change that top. This is going to be great for the pool halls because they're sharking, and you've got to have a character. Watch it, guys.
Is there a role that Tom Cruise sucked in? Well, probably just his marriage.
Yeah. Some of the newer, like that one with Cameron Diaz, Night and Day. Oof.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty unwatchable.
Maybe. Well, I'm pretty sure he put in the hard yards and did a bloody good job.
Yeah, maybe.
The man he's not human, is he?
No, he's an absolute monster. There's big billboards up for. Is there another Mission Impossible about to drop this summer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Final Reckoning.
Part 1?
They've dropped that, actually. So Dead Reckoning Part 1 is no longer a Part 1. It's just Dead Reckoning.
Okay.
Because it doesn't test well to have a Part 1 and a Part 2.
No, fatigue.
And Absolutely.
Okay, so what are we saying here? This is his last rodeo in this role?
As Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
No.
No.
I think I saw the trailer. What's the big stunt in this one? I usually remember them from Burj Khalifa, aircraft hanging on the outside, flying,
jumping a motocross bike. Off
yes.
The thing.
So what's the big one?
I always try and avoid a spoilerific spoilerer.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, man, like Tom Cruise is probably like maybe Jon Voight's age when the first Mission Impossible film came out.
I love playing that game. I love doing stuff like that. It's mad.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of gas in the tank. Anyway, maybe there's going to be a handover. Maybe Jeremy Renner will return for some reason. That was random. For a while.
Maybe he'll show his true colours by Cyndi Lauper, because that was the song doing the rounds. My favourite thing, though, is to find out what was on the spinner rack alongside this book on November the 11th. And it was Transformers Universe issue 3 with a beautiful cover. The Dinobots are all over it. And my son Scout is Transformers crazy, and he is Dinobots crazy, and we've been getting into a spot of bother in the schoolyard because I recently purchased the Dinobot Slag. Now, slag in the UK can mean all sorts. No, Legacy. It's like the 3 3/4. Beautiful toy. And I came in to pick him up from school, and I was like, "Oh, your Transformer came," and he was like, "Was it my Slag? Is Slag here?" Parents are looking; they're like very confused. I've got to try and explain to a bunch of square parents. Well,
it's firstly, Triceratops, the breathes fire, you idiots.
Yeah, and then when we opened it, I noticed that on the box it said Slug. They renamed him. And they renamed Snarl to Scar. What the heck is going on?
I was at a vintage toy market, and there was a G1 Snarl, and Elliot got a little bit too handsy, and the guy was like quickly pulling it back because like the chrome was so nice. He was like,
the chrome is so nice, and the gold and the red.
Don't handle the chrome too much. Sorry.
In middle school,
the little one can't play with that.
I was the absolute moron kid that was trying to convince people that the Dinobots did indeed come together like the Constructicons to form something. I was so convinced that they did. And of course, they absolutely do not.
But, you got your wish, I think, 25 years later. The Combiner Wars, didn't they do a...
Yeah.
They've done a few.
They've never, ever beaten Devastator, in my opinion. It's just the ultimate.
I think the Dinobots should all be oversized to the point where they almost look like a Gestalt in their dinosaur mode. The scaling's never quite worked out like that, but Dinobots should all be massive.
Like, honestly, from a toy focus group, like it is the dream. It's kids love dinosaurs. Every kid goes through an insane dinosaur phase. You combine that with Transformers. Are you kidding me? Like, of course, they're everyone's favorite Transformers. Anyway, we have got to smell this book. I haven't been smelling these books. Now, the book is minty, very minty, but get this, it kind of smells a little bit like menthol cigarettes. I'm getting menthol, those green cigarettes. It's not actually the nicest thing to smell. I'm not going to lie, Jim, but hey, this is about looks, and it looks great. Now, what?
I don't know if Jim's a smoker or not now that you say it, but he's got that sort of Jason Statham-like husk to his voice, so he could well be. And he went through a period of menthols.
He's rocking the menthols. Now, I always ask you this because I love to know, does this off the bat mean anything to you? Does this pique your interest? Does it ignite anything?
Oh yeah. So this dovetails nicely with the fact that I'm actually re-listening to a few selected episodes of Talking Joe.
Okay.
Chief mentions that he got some sales figures around about this time from a comic book collector friend, and he said like issues 54, 55, 56, like some of the most numerously produced GI Joe books, because they were when the run really hit its straps and was selling big time. I think as a result of that, those books were plentiful in my neck of the woods. I had that run. Like, this is a period of GI Joe books that I'm very familiar with, and issue 56 is among them. Like, this is a story that I pored over many times and played out many times with my own toys. I didn't have a Terror-Drome back then. We can we can get into my substitute in a minute, but are we up to date? Are we ready to plunge into this book?
No, because I went on a bit of a journey with this cover.
Okay.
Initially, I wasn't really, not that it's not that I'm not a fan, I just kind of, I was like, it doesn't really stand out to me. Bit of a nothing burger, but the joy of this cover is, in my opinion, Scarlet and that facial expression and how the characters are drawn. Like, the scene is kind of generic, and is that Serpentor in the helo?
Comically oversized in that cockpit.
Yeah. That's a solo. Yeah, I know. He's so wide.
Well, it's still barely noticeable, but you are given the impression that it is Serpentor. Like,
you're so right. If you drew him like a lot smaller, that helo would feel massive. It would totally change the scale, wouldn't it? Whereas at the moment it looks like a micro machine.
This is a Mike Zeck cover, and so like all the, I suppose, the technical aspects are nailed.
Are you with me with the Scarlet thing though? I kind of wish that was the cover and she was taking up a load more space. That expression is so awesome. I don't know what's Flint doing. He is freaked out. Is he seeing something off page? It's just a wild, yeah. He kind of looks out of control. Like, he certainly doesn't look cool.
Okay, Ben, you try staring down a Cobra helicopter that is going full auto on
S-jumps! There's always time to look cool on a battlefield.
Right.
Anyone that's been in the military will tell you that. Oh, my days. Let's open this sucker.
Sure.
I take it
Last thing I do want to say, like, this sets up a precedent. Mike Zeck and Rod Wiggum are on the same wavelength in this issue, in that the helicopters suck. Wow, There's some very special art coming up. We'll get into it.
There is some special art coming up, though, and it's on the first page. I really love this. Jungle Moves. Would you like to attempt one of your synopsis?
I don't even need to bother, because yojo.com has done it for me. Thanks to the guys from Joe Declassified, I guess. So I've gotten lazy on our 34th outing, finally. Anyway, their summary reads as follows. The Joe team makes a second assault on the Cobra Terror-Drome, this time successfully, with the help from the counter-revolutionaries of Sierra Gordo. The captured Snake Eyes is sent off to the Cobra Consulate building in Manhattan, and Destro makes his return to Scotland. Thank you,
That's
Yojo.
it. That was a nice slice. Jungle Moves.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What a great first page. That is a very good way to carry a body, I think. I've never seen it done before. Use your rifle. I hope they got the safety on, otherwise they're going to lose some heads.
Yeah, the barrel of the rifle is right in the Cobra Trooper's nape of his neck.
Yeah, because
I don't know, man. I've found this to be
have
a strange bit of posturing from Snake Eyes. Stiff as a board.
Absolutely stiff as a board. Yeah,
his arms should be slipping down between those. Like, it's weird. I don't know if I like it.
Yeah, I don't think that the page would work if he was all loosey-goosey flopping around. There's a nice order to it.
He looks like a statue or a mannequin. He looks like I always thought he was in some kind of ninja trance that puts you into like rigor mortis.
His heart rate down. Don't you think that Baroness looks like the queen of the blue shirts there as well? Just, they're all just popping so nice with the Cobra insignia in those kind of lovely ferns. And then you just got Mindbender flexing that cape cloak.
And that pump. I mean, he's got a shotgun. It's Spaz 12.
That's like one of those auto shotguns, yeah? Like you ain't pumping that. I always talk about GoldenEye, but I think there was one in there.
You can pump it. It's Italian, I think, but it should be ringing some bells because it is the pump that Sarah Connor uses on the T-1000 on that sort of landing, trying to shoot him into the molten steel.
Oh, she's pumping the hell out of that thing, like one-handed pumps.
Yeah, man.
And the whole cinema, you're just willing. It's like, come on, you got one more round, haven't you? No, you don't. Bugger. I mean, she literally needed one more, and he was in the drink. Shame. Amazing, by the way, just quickly, how much of that was practical, and you think so much of it was CGI, but amazing.
I think 40 special effect shots or CG using shots in the whole of Judgment Day.
Wow.
That is astonishing.
Yeah, that's low. Compared to Phantom Menace, that had about 350.
Yeah. Or even upwards of that. But I saw a great meme that a lot of these sort of practical photography tricks of Judgment Day made use of twins. And they had, of course, the two sheriffs, sort of county, whatever, the correctional facility. Those guys. The fact that Sarah Connor, I'm blanking on her name.
The actress?
Yeah, she's got a twin.
I just watched her in Dante's Peak. Linda Hamilton,
thank you. and then the meme has a final shot of Arnold sitting at a mirror with Danny DeVito in the mirror on the other side. Hilarious.
Yeah, that's so good. That that scene, the what is it, like a mental asylum or something? That's kind of what I imagine the corridors of a Terror-Drome to be like. That blue lighting, that kind of cool, sterile vibe.
I am so thrilled we get to talk about the Terror-Drome, or Cobra launch base, they call it in this issue, back to back. Because last week we spoke about its sort of debut appearance on Cobra Island. This is a Sierra Gordon installation that has been, I suppose, sold by Cobra Command to the counter-revolutionaries, or the revolutionaries. I can never keep track. And we get to talk a little bit more about its internal structure.
Yes.
Because I think I misled you last week by saying that there's no, through access between chambers. Well, that is entirely inaccurate. What I meant to say was there's no access from the top to the bottom, and there's no internal access to the Firebat.
Yeah.
The Firebat has to emerge for you to access it. But what is fun about the Terror-Drome is that the bottom section is a infinity corridor, basically. It's an octagon, and each section has two doorways. So you can move into the preceding section or advance into the next section. So you can have an ongoing corridor battle right the way through, and then just keep repeating
good.
It. That would be great fun.
Yes. You could, you could have battles, or you could have really exciting walking and talking scenes, which is probably what I would have been doing.
Done a bit of that on the GI Joburg channel myself.
Look, apparently they're not designed for defendable from ground attack. What? Why not? They've got big old cannons on the top. You can't tilt those down?
I've got my Terror-Drome. No, they don't have much depression to them, actually. The toy, anyways.
Tomax and Zaymot are concerned about this.
For sure, man. Well, they know that their time is up, and that eventually, all static fortifications will be overrun. It's always just a delaying tactic. Well, before if you've got superior forces, you can take that position.
Before we delve into more Terror-Drome chat, should we just deal with these two really nice sunrise pages? You got one on the USS Flag with the Tomahawk coming into land with an injured Stalker, and he's full of regret and remorse, and he's sweating. He's injured. But really, some of my favourite stuff is Grunt, retired Grunt, in his dorm with the pink beaming light flying through as he's lacing up, getting ready to go on his morning jog. Oh, I love this stuff. I love how this is drawn. I love his meeting with Lola. I mean,
Love their workout gear, man.
Oh, she's in hot pants and leg warmers. It's my kind of woman.
Well, they're both in hot pants, my brother.
Yeah, and he's got some nice piping. Oh, don't you just love this little storyline here?
Oh, it's terrific.
It's
Absolutely.
so good.
The scripting is perfect. They're both like soldiers, or former soldiers, and they both have, I suppose, no room for ego because neither of them worked on specifically like elite groups. Meanwhile, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, both of them actually did.
But he
bit of privileged information.
He does not look old here at all.
No, I think we spoke about Grunt and him rotating back into civilian life.
He looks in good nick.
Well, I think he is a young man. Like, I think he probably enlisted straight after high school, or maybe even before he graduated. No, he would have graduated high school if he's now in college. And was just so damn good that he made the cut for GI Joe. It's possible. I mean, a unit like GI Joe does need like fresh bullet stoppers.
Well, it needs
a better term. Young men.
It needs a constant flow.
Sure.
Of new blood. But
you can't just have a bunch of Vietnam vets, basically. Like, you have to have a grunt. You have to balance out, I suppose, your Snake Eyes and Stalkers with your grunts, and whoever else was a young man. Maybe Clutch.
Yeah, every year someone's going to age out. But
Flash
I do like
was probably a pretty young fella, although I think he had a degree already.
I do love having, nice quiet scenes like that, and then I just love cutting back, and we've missed a whole portion of when this attack started, and we're just right into it. They've dialed them in with artillery, and it's like, okay, the attack is started off page, and we're up and running with some real nice action, and like Cobra kind of like on the back foot here. They're having to evacuate. Mindbender is loading up the fire bat with no plans to get in there himself. He is just putting the brainwave scanner in and literally putting the seatbelt on it and shooting it up into the sky. I find that really funny. So it's all on autopilot.
Well, once again, such an interesting parallel to the issue that we just read, which was it 46 on Cobra Island? Who's Who on Cobra Island?
Yes.
Where they were strapping an unconscious Zartan ripcord into the fire bat and setting it off on.
I suppose that happens in a Terror-Drome. You've got this one vehicle in there that has the ability to get out fast, and you can have a good autopilot. So yeah, off the brainwave scanner goes.
I love how Wiggum is able to embellish the aircraft. Like, the toys, as majestic as the jet toys were, they were always going to be undersized and perhaps under-detailed as a result. So that's why he really leaned into the Rattler in issue 34. And here he's giving the Firebat some lovely attention.
Where's the canopy?
Look at the cockpit. Look at the cockpit.
Where's the canopy?
I guess it would have been a visual interruption. Like, it would have been between Mindbender and Tomax or Zaymot for their dialogue. So it's actually just absent.
Right.
Very good, Ben. You spotted it, man. There's there's no damn canopy.
Well, there's no human in there, so who cares?
Sensitive equipment requires wind protection.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's probably a whole portion of fans that wish that Mindbender just chucked that scanner on the deck and we never heard from it ever again.
I love how the fact that they are very precious about it. It seems like it's
a one of one.
Maybe a one of one, maybe a one of three, but like, it's not a piece of equipment that they can just leave behind or sabotage and wreck it so that the Joes don't get it. Like, they are prioritizing getting the brainwave scanner out even more so than they're prioritizing getting Snake Eyes out.
Well, speaking of getting Snake Eyes out, Mindbender seems quite happy with himself that they've gotten Snake Eyes out, but they obviously have sacrificed a Terror-Drome. Good bit of dialogue when Serpenta's coming through on the comms, and Mindbender's like, oh, he's probably going to congratulate me with what great job I've done, but he actually chews him out.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, right, change, this is all wrong. Change where you're going. You're actually going to go to New York. Go there. You get another chance. And Serpentor is going to actually take care of some business firsthand here.
Possibly the first drop of the Cobra Consulate building?
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait.
Yeah,
Privileged information time. Not that I read the issue recently, but he unveils he has a model of the Cobra Consulate. I think this is the first time we're seeing Cobra characters being diverted there.
Yeah.
So now it's a thing. Obviously, it's complete. It's ready to take...
Well,
ambassadors,
okay, so
Cobra High Command.
Before we cut back to Serpentor, let's get into, so this issue's like flowing and there's good action, and then we just get this sort of intricate few pages of some really good MacGyver stuff, and it basically all comes, so Cobra want to blow up the Terror-Drome, but Tripwire gets in there, stops that from happening, and then their plan is to actually... We want to strip the Terror-Drome down and transport it. Yeah, study. I don't know, do whatever with it. But this goes on for so many pages, and they strategically blow it up into portions. Then they start MacGyvering some kind of, what do you call that? Like a pulley system or a derrick?
Derrick is the word they use. Yeah.
Yeah,
Roadblock is trimming trees.
Unreal.
Mardus. And they're making...
That's a hell of a chainsaw you got there.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's such a change of pace. We get all these shots of, like, taking it down panel by panel. And then the big switcheroo, you think they're loading it onto the train from Back to the Future 3 by the looks of it. But... that's actually a decoy, and where are they putting it? Into the river, where the Tomahawk is going to winch it up. I don't know, a lot of pages spent on that. I enjoyed them. I thought it was really fun.
Correction, I don't think the Tomahawk is going to winch up anything. I mean, it's way too heavy for a helo to lift. They are taking the sections and putting them onto pontoons and then floating them down the river. Yeah,
that's a nice panel that you've paused on there, though.
This.
You don't like the? I'm a sucker for a silhouette. Okay,
Tomahawk
here we go.
Is strangely drawn in a number of panels, and so is the Cobra Transport helicopter, which is strange for an artist whose
seasoned
vehicles are so good. Rod has had to really, I suppose, knock them out in a rush, maybe.
Okay, can you point me? Can you give me a panel where you're not happy with the transport helicopter? Because there's one that I like.
There are a few. Look, the sunset landing on the flag, we might do ourselves a favor and check that out one more time. That is gorgeous. That is amazing. I've got nothing bad to say about that. That is,
and the previous panel, I quite like how the transport helicopter, I mean, it looks, when they're loading it up, looks all right to me there.
Okay, I mean, look. Let me
hella gun on the front.
Slack. He's having to draw and redraw the same pieces of equipment a number of times. But then you get to panels where the Cobra helicopter is dusting and the Tomahawk is coming in, and neither of them are particularly on model. They look pretty rushed and pretty flat.
Yeah, that's a rushed panel for sure.
Absolutely is.
You can, absolutely.
It's a semi-splash, like it's taking up half the page.
Yeah.
So it's always stuck out a bit for me.
It does stick out. I would agree.
I've read this issue way too many times, I guess.
Yeah.
That's on me. There's not even a tail rotor to the Cobra helicopter. That is really
There's some nice interiors of it, though, where you get to see the Cobra consulate and...
Best cockpit shot over Baron's shoulder. That is amazing. All the dials...
That makes the front cover hysterical when you actually see the interiors and just the size of that cockpit. Absolutely colossal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As it should be, yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
really
always
cool.
astounded me when I went to air shows and I went up to aircraft parked on the ground, how massive military aircraft can be. And I'm not talking about cargo planes. I'm talking about like fighters, assault gunships, like big, hefty pieces of equipment that we see like in movies and stuff being so nimble and so quick and they blow up in spectacular balls of fire. But these are heavy machines.
Yeah, Baroness puts on those cans and she can fly that sucker. I mean, impressive. Impressive
role.
skill set.
It's a great role to cast her in. I think she's at her best behind the yoke of a helicopter.
Yeah,
be it
the
a fang,
yoke.
be it a...
It's great.
She's yoked, baby.
Yeah.
She's a fighter jock.
Yeah, I just... There is something about when you just get these... We had it in an issue we did recently where the Joes, the battle is over. The battle is won to an extent, and they got to problem solve. We talked about this before. And in a kind of very basic way. They've only got what they've got to hand. I do enjoy that side of it. And I reckon Larry enjoys writing it too, because he spends probably more time on this than you would think.
Thinking through practicalities. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like this is,
Coming
improvise,
back
adapt, survive. It's not
Yeah.
always a gunfight. It's sometimes, you got these situations where you got to like sort of guile your way out of a sticky situation.
Tone
And it's all
Max and
sleight of
Zaymot are
hand.
so confused. They're so confused with what's happening. They
comedy
really
duo.
are. They are just constantly like looking, just constant shots of them looking like, what are they doing? Like, what's going? Are they actually going to strategically dismantle it with explosives? Yes, they are.
Should we call Serpentor? No. There's no ways they could get those pieces out of the country. But what is GI Joe's end game? I mean, if you're going to forensically comb through a Terror-Drome, like the wall panels, is that essential to your? Surely it's the internals that you want to strip out.
Can they not
Like
just lock down the
structure.
area? Just lock down the area and secure it and.
Well, let's believe that Sierra Gordo is just an open war zone at this point. Like it's constant shifting lines between the revolutionaries, the counter-revolutionaries, and everyone else. So and Cobra in the mix as well. So I can see their urgency to try and get this stuff back to a more secure location. But the walls of the Terror-Drome? Why?
Yeah, but now I've changed how I feel about. They're not bases. Like they are.
Prefabs.
Yeah, I think they are. This is like lowest bidder. The key in there is the tech that they're beaming out. Maybe there is not much to them, and when these panels go up, and there's obviously a few other bit. Yeah, it kind
They
of.
do call out the fact that it's. I think they say that the wall sections are basically 3 different kinds of walls that then repeat. This isn't exactly true of the toy, but yeah, there's absolutely a lot of like repeat panels.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Larry had a Terror-Drome to hand himself, or if he saw one at New York Toy Fair and like kind of jotted down some notes. But it's very clever that he calls out the fact that they're not like the Cobra main base as the cartoon would have you believe.
Yeah.
This is a cheaply made prefab fortification that is really just a veneer for something more sinister, which is covered by the fact that it's called a Terror-Drome. Like, what could that be about? Beaming fear waves around a country. Like, it's so clever. I would love the explanation for the Terror-Dromes that is set up in this issue. We haven't found out the secret yet, but we know, like, Mindbender is hinting at the fact that there's a secret to the Terror-Dromes, and we can't afford to let G.I. Joe know that.
I would wager that they share no more than one toilet on a Terror-Drome. And even that, I reckon Cobra Commander was like, I would actually rather not even put a toilet in. Like, this is bare bones, people.
Like
I've told you before.
They just hang their asses over the wall.
It feels like we keep talking about the Terror-Drome, and it's nice when that happens. I want a technical readout on it. I want to know the capacity and how many people staffed it and all of that stuff. And now, from the more issues I read, I'm starting to skew way lower than what I first thought when I looked at them more of a base. Now I'm thinking string out shape on those things, hardly anyone in there rattling around.
What is cool about this one is you get to see there are a few shots where you get an idea of scale. Mm-hmm. Whether they are accurate or whether that's Rod kind of playing fast and loose.
More of a
with the pencil.
bunker. You there?
It absolutely is, yeah. The Terror-Drome that we're dealing with in issue 56 is like on the smaller end of the scale. Maybe there are larger ones. Certainly the one on Cobra Island is the sort of the plus size model.
That's the premium edition. Yeah.
This is budget. Yeah.
Yeah, the one on Cobra, that feels like it would have a ceremonial hall and, lots of other bells and whistles. Yeah.
And the one in GI Joe the movie has, it's like the freaking Death Star.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That is a monster. That really is almost something else, isn't it? That's like the Super Star Destroyer to the Star Destroyer, almost.
Here we're dealing with Terror-Drome X.
Now look, you think we've discussed all of this issue, but no. What do we get at the end? We get 2 pages of a man in an airport going through security. Destro. Really cool. I love the pulling out of the mask and it covers his face. And the little conversation with the stewardess. Staying long in London? No, I'm catching a connecting flight to Glasgow, Scotland. Business. Family business. Joyous. And then we get another kind of... There's a lot of sun panels in this issue. And it feels nice that we end on one as the plane banks at an unbelievable angle. But off he goes to Scotland to take care of some business. It's kind of nice. It's kind of cinematic, almost like a post-credits sting to the issue. I do like that Destro's depicted as not having hair. I never really... Yeah.
It's a better look than the sort of the flop top that we see in later issues.
Yeah, I agree. Well, are you? Of course, yeah. Well, there it is. Yeah, you can see it. He's a baldy.
Well, very Lex Luthor of him. He's a hell of a dude. Lost his hair early.
I've really enjoyed this issue, and it sounds like you've read this issue a lot more than me. But you gave it one more go. And are you getting anything new from it? Are you looking at it with different eyes, different context, maybe?
Well, no, mainly with nostalgic eyes, Ben, because reading this issue now reminded me of how it inspired play.
Oh, yeah.
Any issue definitely. That I had read multiple times stays with you to the point where you wanted to play out those tropes. And to that end, I needed a Terror-Drome. So...
Yes.
I don't know where it came from, but I know where I found it. In the fly gallery above my school hall stage. So the flies are where they have big fly bars that they hang scenery and stuff. But in the sort of the walkways above the stage was a cardboard life-size R2-D2 replica.
Okay. Wow. So you had that, you saw the shapes there that you needed.
It didn't have a dome. So R2-D2 as just like a cylinder with all sort of the technical greebles, printed on it. Yeah. That became my Terror-Drome. And you could open it up. Because it was just one piece of cardboard sort of wrapped around an inner frame, you could unlock and pull away the covering, the outer cardboard, and access the structure, which fortunately was basically 3 levels of cardboard. Like Amazing. 3 cardboard circles to make the the R2D2
Yeah.
bin.
That's so good. And you
I had
played out
that for
this issue.
years, man. I had that for years, just kicking around my room, and it allowed me, to go out into the garden, set this up, and have Joe assault it, take it over, and then puzzle as to how they were going to transport this back to friendly lines. So yes, I totally played out the more procedural part of this issue. It told me that GI Joe isn't always just gun-toting. Sometimes they have to do some problem-solving. Sometimes they have to go A-Team or MacGyver on a subject. Yeah.
When we did our setups and stuff, we had loads of fighting and battles, took care of that, but we 100% had loads of kind of like loading scenes and timber, like twigs. If you strip a twig and cut it, and then we'd always like Sergeant Slaughter, like commando style, they just looked like perfect logs. You'd always have timber being loaded into something, or because you got so many figs, like they can't all just be in firefights all the time. That would actually get quite boring. Other stuff to be done on a base. But
carrying logs, allegedly.
Yeah. Oh, we've got such good stuff of like Slaughter, just the commando scene. But no, I've got a cardboard cutout. It's colossal. It's like the size of this ceiling. It's an AT-AT. An AT-AT cardboard cutout, and then it has off the back a huge stand. It's
rad.
Amazing thing. It's so big. I got it for like a Christmas from Emma years ago.
And it still has place of pride? Like you managed to...
No, so it's moved around now. I mean, it really is so big. For a long time, I flattened it and we had it in Phoenix's room and it just looked like this amazing piece of wall art. But then it moved around. Now it's in the garage. It's cool though. Really cool. I went through such a cardboard cutout phase. I just have so many memories of going into shop when like Star Wars was starting to come back out again into the zeitgeist with like the release of special editions, and I ask every W.H. Smith, every Wars, every HMV, I just walk into them all and I'd be like, right, put my name down because I want all these cardboard cutouts. Stands where they put the VHS, anything. And they'd be like, well, there's a lot of names on the back of there, so you actually have to start bidding. It was actually people's names and their bids. Crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
what,
I never
cash money was changing hands? That's a racket if I ever saw one.
Cash money and deets on the back of these. Yeah, crazy. I'd put my name down there for all of them. It's so funny. Yeah, I was so into that. Like, shops always had the coolest posters that you could never get anywhere. When I finally worked in a cinema, oh my God, that was just Pleasure Town. Those big one sheets with all of the with all of the info on and stuff. Yeah. Oh, who's this?
Oh, we have
it's
a
my
surprise
wife.
guest. Emma's back.
Emma, just wrapping up CJ here. CJ, not Pamela Anderson from Baywatch. It's Chasing Joe. The cool people call this show CJ.
I know what I do.
Thoroughly enjoyed that issue, and thanks so much to Jim Godfrey for sending it to me. That's my... What is that? That is my 9th donation. So,
and I'm always grateful to be off the hook for having to guess the price. So thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Well, that is free.
Ben,
yeah.
I want to always ask you this question. One day, maybe you'll actually do it. Did you read the letters page?
I didn't. I just finished reading the issue. But I can read them now.
What's the point of having a floppy if you're not going to read that?
That's so true. Now, what stood out to you? Was it Robert Foster? Was it Joyce? Was it Mike Miller? Who? Was it John and Norman?
I think the one that I most like.
Gary Bass.
Gary Bass? No,
what name?
Joyce has my attention because Joyce has a crush on Xandar, which is so delightful.
Don't we all?
Amazing.
Good-looking lad.
Also, a very close run for second place. She was ranking her like favorite Joes and Cobras. Very close run for second place would be Xandar. Talk about cute pink hair. I love it. He was the kid who never got noticed. I noticed him. Amazing.
Yeah, that's great. Xandar was a fig that I was surprised I was getting. I got him so long after his release. I went into a toy shop in Fordenbridge, and it's just so random. They just had a Xandar, and I was so thrilled to pick him up.
Xandar's
Looking for him.
He's back there. He's on my swamp fire. I thought maybe he was on my Terror-Drome. I could just reach up and grab him, but alas and alack. Bloody good head sculpt.
Do some people think that Xandar is a nothing burger? Fig and character.
Easy to do so. He wasn't given much justice in either media.
He's not a goon, man. No way is he a goon.
Think about it. In Arise Serpenter Arise, he's sent in to do the job and fails miserably. So Big Brother Zartan has to, call on the boys, get the Dreadnoks and him to achieve the objective.
I'm just saying that
he did him dirty there, and Larry didn't really give him much to do. And also, I don't know, he was always second fiddle to Zorana.
Yeah,
how do you do?
Big player. Yeah, I'm just saying that I would never play him as like I would the other Dreadnoks.
Sure,
he had a brain.
Yeah, more nuance and abilities that kind of surpassed. Yeah,
he
the
just
stuff
has a
that
very
you make the Dreadnoks do.
Interesting look. The figure's fantastic. Really
buddy
cool.
of mine who also loves doing Joe photography made mention of the fact that Xandar's head sculpt is quite fascinating in that if you take him from different angles, you get different character. And that's not true of every GI Joe head sculpt. Xandar's got a particularly intriguing, maybe he's got an asymmetry to his face, to his expression. And maybe that's so the face paint also helps kind of give you a different aspect depending on where you point your lens.
Well, look, depending on where I point my lens, you've got very different looks with that tash. I mean, all sorts going on.
Will it be here next week? Maybe. I don't know.
Chocks away. I mean, you should be running around a flight deck.
Surprisingly, my wife doesn't hate it. She's like, okay.
That's a lot of people's first question, isn't it, with the tash? What did your wife say? There's a lot, And I think you're right. I think a lot of women love tash. Why not?
My previous career in performance had me occasionally growing the odd facial hair, which my wife always hated. But I think the years have worn her down. Now she's like, whatever, Steve, do whatever you want with your face.
Just quickly, you didn't have this issue to hand. It's not with you.
It's back in the good old RS of A.
Yeah, but you do have everything you're buying. You've been buying a few bits. So you have, 20, 30 issues in Oz?
Here with me? Yes, and I've got a lot sitting with a friend of mine who I've yet to go out for drinks with.
Oh,
really unfortunate.
You've purchased?
Purchased, and I left town before they'd arrived, so I told the seller to send it to my buddy's place. I've yet to pick them up. So
how many are we looking at, do you think?
About a dozen.
A dozen? Oh, any big hitters in there?
Maybe one or two. I don't know.
So there are
value big hitters, and then there are number big hitters. Like there are books that are critically acclaimed or important landmark issues, and then there are books that are just command money because there was a low print run and it was late in the run. Like those are grudge purchases, man. But
you don't necessarily care if you have some of these issues back home. It's just 12 GI Joe books. Great. When does that happen? That's why you're buying them, yeah?
Yeah.
Or do you need all 12? Surely not.
I needed all 12, yeah.
What?
They fill gaps.
They fill gaps because I'm definitely getting to that point where now, if I just see a cheap Joe book, I just get it. I just feel I'm just like I am a Hoover. I am Luigi's Mansion. Just that's what happens when you're chasing Joe. I'm not saying I'm not. It's not about condition. What have I turned into? Like, if I see one cheap, I just think, come home, come to me. I'll give you a good home. And there's something now. I've got a couple of doubles, maybe even triples. When you thumb through the long box, it's almost like I've got three options here. Which one do I want? Let's have a look.
And
I also like the idea of
the playground, and you could have trade bait. You've got duplicates, so you take your collection to the schoolyard and like trade with your friends. Damn it.
I'd have
missed those days.
Some copies that I can send to friends as well. It's great. Like if you don't have to be as precious. You can give gifts. The gift of a GI Joe book is quite something.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for another great episode of Chasing Joe. Much like the comic is finding its straps, as you say. I don't know what finding straps means, but I feel like we're finding our straps.
I'll chuck you onto the back of a horse someday and see how quickly you fall flat in your face.
Okay.
Find your straps, man.
And I've been like, as I said, I've been doing like the housekeeping and pruning, and I've just become very fond of this show we do. I mean, I've always liked it, but like it's.
If I don't say so myself, gosh.
I just
look at us.
I'm just becoming very like it's precious to me. I love it. I love that I'm doing this journey. It's great, and I love that I'm doing it with US Jobs.
Oh, Ben. Say the sweetest things. All right, let's get out of here before we get too schmaltzy and we lose it.
Yeah, the wheels are spinning. And Flying Retro at Instagram, podcast, people who play, Substack, flagship show for you. Yo, Joe, go ride!